everyone, and welcome back to another video. So today I wanted to make a new kind of tunnel bore basically. So I recently uploaded the smart tunnel bores for the overworld dimension, but as a lot of you pointed out, you don't really make tunnel bores in the overworld. So I decided I would go over it again and attempt to make something that can work for the Nether. So just to go over a couple of machines here, you can see a lot of failed attempts for a lot of good reasons, because there's a lot of modification, believe it or not, that goes into making another tunnel bore. There's just a lot of different things that you have to account for, and it's a lot more difficult. So, the first thing I want to go over is the output of our tunnel. This is what your tunnel is going to look like mainly. I'll show you how you can modify this tunnel in the end, so that you can either just not pull these blocks up, or you can have blocks here as well and stuff like that. So yeah, you can basically modify this tunnel to be however you want, but I also want to go over a couple of other things. For instance, like these different designs for the tunnel bore, because this went through a lot of iterations and there's a couple of things that you need to change in order to make this tunnel bore kind of work for the Nether dimension, because a lot of excess blocks are left around in the Nether. As you can see, there's a lot more than there is in the overworld, where you can just kind of push and pull the walls in order to create smooth walls. So yeah, it's a lot more difficult, but it's still possible to do a couple of cool things in here. So the first thing I guess that we can do is actually run the tunnel bore, because I know that pretty much everybody wants to see that. So let's grab the 5x speed, or no, it's called Smart Nether Piston Tunnel Bore. Let's grab a stick and let's paste this schematic in. So whenever you go to paste in one of these smart tunnel bore schematics, you're also going to want to give it some distance from the wall, because the TNT obviously needs to fly. If you've built any form of tunnel bore before, you should know that. But yeah, pretty simplistic. So let's start running this. So obviously the on-off switch is right here. I'm just going to make sure that I still have minecarts in here. Okay, so let's start the tunnel bore, I guess, and we can see how everything's kind of working. Okay, so here you can see, let's turn down our music again, it's annoying. Anyways, so here you can see the tunnel bore kind of carving into the netherrack. It makes a large hole because netherrack has a really low blast resistance, but this isn't actually perfect for quartz. So quartz you might want to remove, especially on this side where you have the slime. On this side it's not as much of a problem, but if you see any more towards the right side of the machine, just maybe stop it in case the quartz kind of slip by. The front of the tunnel bore though should have more than enough spacing for it to clear the ores, so that's fine. So the first thing that we do here is, because 2 blocks can actually generate here, so kind of in this formation, what we were actually doing is here we're attempting to pull up the first layer of blocks, pull them upwards, and then here we pull up the second layer of blocks, and then we're also pushing up the first layer. So with this kind of strategy, we're pushing up everything in the end, which is going to form right above the tunnel there. I gotta be careful to still load the TNT, by the way. That's why I'm kind of slowly making my way to the back of the machine. But yeah, so here you could see a bunch of piston worms, which are just constantly pushing everything up. And this is basically taking care of the floor, smoothing and everything. So here you can see we have a flat floor. And now it's starting to pull up every second block like we did with the other machines. So this is to create the piston bolt formation. Just so you know, in order to build, I believe, the demi bolts, or whatever you call them, for the newer versions, and also apparently they also work in the older versions. I did not know that. But you could just switch this observer and piston around. Obviously just make sure that the observer is facing this way instead. And that would basically pull up both blocks on the same kind of coordinate here. But yeah. Then here as well, we have systems to pull up these blocks and push them out. This was actually something that was requested for Kronos, because basically what they want is they want a machine where this is just a smooth 5x5, so that you can use, I'm just going to use prismarine as an example for a tunnel bore, because it's, or sorry, for a piston bolt, because it's a lot different from netherrack. You could basically have the entire tunnel like this, which is perfect because you could just build it flat. So yeah, that's why we have the side pullers here. that just pull away the netherrack, and yeah, that's pretty much how the piston logic of the machine works. Now, it's a little bit harder to stop these machines. I don't know if you guys have ever used these before, but you have to kind of time it correctly. Otherwise, some of this stuff can happen like this, which is unfortunate. Honestly, I've actually never seen it stop like this. Yeah, I don't know why that happened. But yeah, so there's a lot of different things that are different about this tunnel bore rather than the predecessors. So yeah, I guess I can kind of go into a little bit of detail about that. Okay, so in order to kind of go over what was changed, we need to understand what we need to change. So in order to account for the nether, we are obviously trying to keep blocks like this that could possibly generate if the TNT has random momentum. So we need to keep those to a minimal. Otherwise, stuff on the side could get like very hard to control and stuff like that. So the way that we're going to do that is we are going to align the TNT. So right out of here, this is where the TNT is duped. It can technically come out from this glass block, basically just around here. At this point, it can be assigned any random momentum it wants. It can go to this side, it can go to that side, doesn't really matter. And up until this point, it's pretty much fine, because when the TNT comes over to here, it gets pushed. If it is lying slightly on this block, so a little bit over, this piston will correct it and push it back onto here. But if it's overhanging on this side, we gotta wait a little bit more. So, also this should be here. Basically, the TNT will get launched up, forward, and then this piston here will correct it and push it back into this block. So it effectively puts the TNT in between these two glass blocks, which is perfect for getting it right in between here for our tunnel bore to accelerate it, and it'll blow up in just the, it's not actually a perfect location, but it's a good enough location for the tunnel bore. So we can try to continue to run this. I have no idea if this is going to break, to be honest. I don't have very high hopes for it, considering that it just kind of blew up the floor. But let's see, honestly, because I've never seen this happen before. So yeah, that's, it seems to be working fine. So yeah, that's pretty much how we needed to change the bore mainly. Obviously, I did a couple of other changes. For instance, here, I made sure that the minecart could not fall out. It doesn't even matter what way the rail's facing, so you cannot nudge this minecart out. Just to show that, yeah, you could just stand in here just fine. And it broke again. Why did that happen? Okay, so I figured out what the issue was with the bore. Basically, this system here needs to be able to go 1 over push limit, and before I had it set like this with a extra block, which is exactly at push limit 12. Here it'll say probably 11, but yeah, because this piston is extended. So it would be 12, but it also needs to be able to push a redstone block or something, and it couldn't do that before. So basically, all I needed to do was this, and just for helping the machine in case that were to ever happen again, all that I did was I moved the slime block that was here upwards, just like it was in the older versions, because that actually prevents this glass block from getting pulled up. But yeah, that's pretty much all I need to do to fix that. Just a minor issue basically with the bore. I'll make that lightmatic real quick. But that's pretty much how the shape is going to look in the end with this bore. So in the ceiling as well, you can see all the blocks are getting pushed up. So you can even see this in the older tunnel. So up here, the blocks are getting slowly pushed up. And this is what allows for the netherrack to be stored up on the ceiling, but have a clearance in the floor. And yeah, that's pretty much how the bolt maker works. It's a lot more work than the overworld one, and reasonably so, to be honest. I mean, nether terrain is so rough, and it's just a lot of work, especially with tunnel bores. Never mind anything world eater or anything. At least with the world eaters, you have a consistent, roughly consistent stream, because what do they call it? Basically, the world eaters have TNT every couple of blocks, which can account for extra blocks on the side. So yeah, it's a lot different than a world eater, but it's definitely still a good piece of equipment, and it can probably be used. Another thing, although the duper is convertible to a newer version duper, I do not advise you to use this in any version above 1.16. And that reason is Blackstone. Blackstone and also Basalt, I guess. I don't know if Basalt actually has a different blast resistance than Netherrack, but they are probably more than what Netherrack is, which means basically Blackstone can appear on the level of the actual block pullers, which I don't actually have Blackstone on me. Let's just use glass for an example. But basically, glass might be able to form like here or under here or something, which is not good. And if it can kind of go over the whole machine, it's going to be an issue. If it can generate like on the sides or up above, that's also an issue. And especially here on the side, that can also be quite an issue. But if it has like something that's a little bit less than stone, maybe something like an ore's blast resistance, then it should be fine in theory. But yeah, other than that, it's pretty much good. I mean, you can try to use it in newer versions, but always be careful with Blackstone, especially if it's to the right of the machine. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I'll obviously leave the Lightmatic down in the description. You know how to alter the back of the machine as you wish, and yeah, that's it. Bye.